Okay, everyone, we are moving into our final hour of the Caring Conference, and Jacquelyn is going to help us with journaling. So Jacquelyn, take it away.
Hi everyone. I'm Jacquelyn. I like to start out by saying that I stutter. What usually happens is that people get used to it, and then after a while, you won't even notice it at all. You will need a pen and paper for this. And so typing on the computer won't necessarily work because when you write something out, especially when it's a goal that you want to achieve, your mind subconsciously starts working towards it. And so that's why like having a pen and paper is super important. So if you guys just need to run and get that really quickly, you totally can. Okay, so I was the caregiver for my mother. She had dementia. I cared for her a total of 6 years from the time that I was 29 up until now. I'm 35, and being such a young caregiver posed many challenges that I personally wasn't expecting, with like work and love life and dating and that sort of, I mean, money and, you know, all of the hardships that arise with care. I just happen to deal with them slightly younger. But something that I started doing in high school was journaling. So I had started that, and I really became adept to it because as a person who stutters, and like my stutter was much more severe as a teenager, but I always felt like no one would take the time to hear me. And so my journal became something that let me get my feelings out and my opinions out and helped me feel valid. Then it just moved into something that helped me problem solve. And so we're going to get started. So the purpose of this presentation is to leave having you walk away knowing how to manage your mental health, your anxiety, and reduce stress, but also help you identify the stressors in your life and then work on a plan to resolve them through stream of conscious writing. So we're gonna take one problem that you have that has like been bugging you in your life, and you will walk away from this session with at least one way to solve it. Now, that is a pretty big promise, but so far I've done this workshop 2 times, and everyone who has taken it has walked away with steps to then solve the issue that they have. So this is me. This is my mom, who I care for, and I just wanted to like give you a little bit of back story. The mourning and heartbreak that comes from having to watch your parent, slowly decline is indescribable, to be honest. And at 29, it was something that none of my peers really understood. And so one of the few places that I could retreat to was my journal. And through journaling, I was able to figure out how to create a community of support within my home. I was able to have friends move in who not only helped support me, but they also became a part of my family. And it meant that my mom had other people to communicate with, and love on also. And we sort of formed a care squad. And so we took what could have been an incredibly isolating and sad story and turned it into one of joy. And through journaling, I was able to create a concrete plan, all because I got my thoughts and feelings that were in my head out on paper. All right, so these are the goals. I just wanted to restate them. But here are the rules. So everyone should have a pen and paper in front of them. I'll say it again, this cannot be done on a computer. Rule number 1 is once the timer starts, your pen cannot leave paper. So even if you don't know what to write, you have to keep writing. You can even write, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. I don't know. But soon enough, your stream of just will kick in, and whatever is on your head will then flow into your pen and out on paper. Rule number 2 is write until the timer goes off. I will be setting a timer. This entire workshop is interactive, and so you will be writing the entire time. And the final one is no editing what you write, no crossing out, no moving backwards. You can only continue moving forward. So the first thing that we're going to do is a brain dump. Now, for this, you literally just get whatever thoughts that you have out on paper. These are usually done in a bullet points. Whatever situation that has been sitting on your mind, you just write them over and over and over again. It can be something simple like my husband didn't take the trash out to something like my caregiver showed up late, and it messed up my whole day. But just write whatever comes to mind. So I'm going to set a 2-minute timer, and we are going to start that process right now. All right, and your time ends now. I know 2 minutes isn't a lot, right? But it just gives you the perfect amount of time to declutter whatever is on your mind. And usually what happens is after people just take a short amount of time to just get whatever thoughts have been circling around in their mind out, they feel like a very small sense of relief. You guys can respond in the chat, but how many of you wrote about things that you didn't even realize was still taking up space? I'm gonna open up the chat so I can see what you guys are saying. Oh, or not, okay. Or
I'm not sure if we lost Jacquelyn. So I'm just checking in. Can everybody hear me? Oh, interesting, Deb. Yeah, okay. So I think, so Jacquelyn has actually added another event, and so she had to move up into her hotel room. And I think her internet probably got stuck. Okay, so yeah, this is fascinating. I thought 2 minutes would be too long, but it turned out when Jacquelyn said 2 minutes, I was like, well, I'm not done yet. Okay. Oh, and Deb. Okay, so Deb actually wrote about things she didn't want to admit to. Wow. Wow. Oh, oh, wow. So Zach started writing more about himself. And then that's when stuff started creeping in from elsewhere. You know what else? I had a couple choices about what I would write about, and I really committed to writing about positive things. So I didn't want it to be a vent on my journal. I wanted it to be positive because I wanted to keep my page. And I wanted to be able to move back and look at it and feel like, oh, okay, I love the positives that I just wrote. Yeah, and it's okay, I think, if it looks like a to-do list. They say that if you keep it in your head, it becomes this worry about, am I going to remember to do this? So the power of putting it on a paper is another way to get relief from remembering. So Jacquelyn will go ahead and make you co-host again. Okay.
I appreciate that. Sorry if that happened.
Oh, no worries. Honestly, it happens to me on a regular basis, and I just feel like, we do the best we can, and then we just come back. So everybody's been sharing in the chat room. It's been fascinating. Thank you so much for being here, Zach. Thank you. And I'm just going to go on mute because I have to sneeze.
Okay, great. So I'm going to put this back up. Purpose of presentation, we're going to go past these. Brain dump. Okay. 2-minute timer. Okay, yeah. So if there were any recurrent topics that kept popping up, that would mean that that's something that's holding a lot of space and that you might want to revisit it more. And so that's your mind telling you that that's something to pay a bit more attention to. So now what you're going to do is pick one thing from that dump, one topic that you want to explore more, something that you need to solve. And we're then going to journal on that one thing. And so there's so much science behind the benefits of journaling. I'll let you read over that real quick. I don't want to mess up our timing, but there are endless health benefits to taking the time to dump what is on your mind, and including increasing the capacity of information that you can hold. So we're going to take about 3 minutes and do another stream of conscious writing, and try to put every thought that you have about this situation down on paper. Your feelings, your emotions, no one will see this, so don't hold back. And of course, the rules are pen should not leak paper, and then there's no editing. Okay, so I'm going to start this 3-minute timer again right now. Okay, and our timer is up. I know 3 minutes is a pretty short amount of time, but I hope you guys were able to get that out. All right. So this is actually my favorite part. Is did any questions arise that you didn't know existed about this particular topic, or did anything surprise you? While diving a bit deeper, were there just pieces of this story in your head that you weren't expecting to pop up? So we're now moving into the final section of this, which is the locus of control, which is an individual's perception about the main causes of an event that happens in their life. Now, the locus of control is usually molded from how we had to survive as a child. And so if we had to give up control in order to remain safe, we often come from the perspective that we don't have as much control as we have. And so a way to gauge what kind of control we have is by doing a journaling of your situation. And so we're going to spend 2 minutes. And the topic of this journal concerning your situation that you chose is what is in your control. And so we're going to take your situation, and then you're going to take 2 minutes to write about what control you have. And so I'm going to start that timer right now. Okay, your 2 minutes have stopped. We're now going to do another 2 minutes of what is out of our control. So let's take some time to write about the things in the situation that we don't have the control of. And start. Okay. And our final one is, so what can you influence, but you cannot control? You can influence how you teach someone, requests that you make of a person, or the plans that you put in place. These sometimes overlap with what is in your control. We're going to start that timer right now. Okay, and the timer is off. All right, so my question is, do you feel like you have a better understanding of the situation? Do you feel like you now know what influence with the situation you have, and what steps that you control and how you can move forward? Hold on 1 second. Okay, yeah. So one of my favorite quotes is that we all invent ourselves. And so some of us just have more imagination. And I don't necessarily think that some of us have more imagination, but that some of us just take more time to seek out the answers. And one of the ways that I use this is by journaling. And then my final point here is that these very short 2-minute increments may not seem like a lot of time. And I know that sometimes we feel like life is so full and we can't make time for problem solving and sitting down and putting all of our thoughts out, but you only need about 2 minutes per day to even set a habit. It's about the habitual act of doing something more so than the amount of time. And so I just want to leave you guys with that. I'm hoping that this helps you find the power that you have within your situations in order to move forward. Thank you.
Jacquelyn, I wonder if you could do us a favor. I loved the prompts that you gave us. I wonder if you could go back to each slide that has a prompt, because I think it would be helpful for us to take note of what the prompts were.
Sure. Okay, I'm trying to do this with the slide. One sec. Okay, there we go. Please work. Okay, there we go. So we started with the brain dump. And then after that, we then moved into the 2 minutes of that. And then we moved into the journaling. We did 3 minutes of that. We then moved into the locus of control. And the questions for that were, what is in your control? What is out of your control? And then what can you influence but can't control?
Yeah, I loved those prompts. And I'm just curious if anyone had an aha during any or all of the prompts. I loved the influence one.
Yeah, sometimes I know what I can't control, but I don't know what like how I can use my influence to then persuade. And for me, I think that's really important. It reminds me that there still is some power that I have, even when I can't control what others do.
Well, I think that was what was so amazing to think about. Okay, it's not within my control, and it could be something that I can influence. And I loved that. I loved that. Just the knowledge that we don't have to worry about what we can control, because sometimes it's what we can influence.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And you never know what the outcome of your influence will be, but putting it in motion is something that you can control and then let go of.
Absolutely. So Crystal sharing in the chat room. So it was what she can control versus what she can't control, and then using what she can control for influence. Okay, I love that. So you were able to actually tag team, this is what I can control, which then created, this is what I can influence.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. So who is going to make this a daily habit? I am. Jacquelyn is making this a daily habit. It is. Okay, so Melissa, you're really going to try. Yes, absolutely. And I love this idea that we're going to try, knowing that, okay, it may not be a perfect daily habit, but let's try. And maybe it's the trying around, I'm going to set aside a time every day where I do my journaling. Jacquelyn, I'm wondering, what time of day do you write?
Usually in the morning helps me most because like for me, it's now about having as much mental capacity as I can for the day. And so sometimes even while I'm in bed, I just reach over and I get my journal and I just make that list of whatever is on my mind. And then that lets me know like what is of importance that I need to get started on, so it's not weighing on me.
Denise, I don't know if you're still with us. We had talked on Tuesday during a free monthly webinar or meeting I do, which is our respite in place planning. And Denise was talking about how getting to sleep sometimes is okay, but it's the waking up in the middle of the night. And I wonder if this is a tool, Denise, that you could use to help you fall asleep. Something has woken you up, you grab your notebook and paper, and then you write it out. And you can say, for 2 minutes, I'm just going to write this out so that you can release it. Know you've taken care of it, whatever the worry is. So you can hopefully then fall back asleep. You know, it's interesting. We started off today with a poll. What time of the day do you feel most hopeful? And the top answer was in the morning.
Mm.
And I apologize, I cannot remember who it was, but one of our attendees said actually in the evening. I thought that was interesting because of her state of reflection. So she reflects on her day that just happened, which helps her then get ready for her next day. And I love the idea that this brain dump is a great way to say, this is what happened today. Just write it all out. I've got it all out. And then I love your prompts, which then help us say, now I have space to think about what's within my control, what's out of my control, and then what can I influence? And then that's the way you set your intention for the next day.
Yes. Yeah, I see how it can help you start your day, but it can help you also release what happened that day and get a solid night sleep as well.
You know what? And I love this idea of a brain dump, especially when there's something that has happened during my day, which is incredibly frustrating to me. Sometimes I'm like, who can I call to let them know what just happened? And instead of thinking, who can I call? It's, okay, I'm going to do a 2-minute brain dump about this and then writing it out. And actually, that's probably a better use of my energy. And then I'm not bringing someone else into my energy of, I'm instead being much more proactive about it. Okay. Any last words for us, Jacquelyn?
I really appreciate you having me, and I thank you everyone who joined in also.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to close out with just a really quick presentation that I'm going to do for us that I hope continues to move us into an energy around hope. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so let's really end around a conversation about treasuring. And if Denise is still with us, she'll know that we actually had this conversation during our respite in place planning session on Tuesday. And it actually was part of a conference that I did last week, which included this respite in place planning session. And if you're interested, it's the second Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You're welcome to join me. And so we talk about how we create a place for ourselves in our house, in our yard, in our community. And then we think about, what can I do in this space? And one of the recommended words is treasure. And it's interesting to me that treasure includes people in our life and things in our life. And if we create a space that's just for ourselves, we can think about, what are the treasures that I bring into this space? We're talking about hope today. And I think what and who we treasure can remind us of how hope stays present in our day. So I'd love for you to think about, what will you treasure? Who will you treasure? And I'd love for you to share in the chat room. Feel free to think about insights, perspectives, relationships, knowledge, opportunities, emotions. For you, what are your treasures? And I think about treasures as relates to opportunities that might be right in front of us. So you heard JJ and Natalie really talk about how they're treasuring this opportunity that came out of a personal caregiving experience. So what's the treasure for you that comes out of an opportunity that might have felt difficult or overwhelming or challenging? What's the treasure for you as it relates to your wisdom, your knowingness? What do you know that is wisdom you can treasure? And it could be, what do you know about the relationships in your life? What do you know about the values that you hold? And what do you know about what your future can be? What will you treasure around that? We talked about, as we started off today, our failures, so that we could clean out our thoughts around our failures. Well, what will you treasure around your past that now will help you in your present, that will set you up for an amazing success in your future? What will you treasure about this moment right now that will help you create a great moment after we close our workshop for today? What will you treasure around your faith or your belief system? And then how will that treasure become how you show up in the world? Something that I thought was so interesting about those prompts that Jacquelyn put us through or helped us through is this idea of influence. And I think about, how can our energy become that influence so that we treasure our ability to use our energy in a way that changes an environment, that changes a perspective, that changes a situation, that changes others? How can we treasure our words that we use? Thinking about the words that you enjoy sharing with another. We talked about stories earlier today. And I also think that we have this amazing power of words. Something that we learn in our certified caregiving consultant training are resilience reflections. This idea that I can share how you show up and show me your resilience. I can tell you what I love about what you're sharing with me, showing me, telling me. How will you treasure the words that you use? So for instance, maybe you think, I haven't sent an email to someone who I treasure. I'm going to send an email and share words to let them know I treasure them. So today, actually, a colleague I haven't seen in a long time came today to our workshop, and she sent me a little note. She had to leave a little early, and she said, I'm so glad we reconnected. And I think I'm going to make sure to reach out because I treasure reconnecting. Okay, I love what you guys are sharing in the chat room. So Grace is saying, living my values and confidence with the support of a community of like-minded individuals. Wow. Crystal is going to treasure her past and her choices and her decisions. If she were to change any part of her past, then maybe the situation that she enjoys today wouldn't be as pleasant. I think we can set the intention that we keep hope when we take care of what we treasure. And we can be intentional about how we define and describe who and what we treasure. So as you move back into the rest of your day, be aware of the treasures you see, those objects that you treasure, the relationships you encounter, those people in your life that you treasure, and the opportunities that are out there for you, for your future. Treasure those. You have opportunities that will transform your future. And you can treasure them. And you can treasure them in all the hardship that are part of them. Because life is both joy and suffering. And you can treasure the wholeness of those two experiences. Okay, thanks so much for being here today. I'm going to actually stop the recording so we can talk about CEUs, and then we're going to do our raffles for our prizes. Okay, so let me stop the recording. Thanks to those who have watched our recording. We so appreciate it. And then we'll talk about CEUs.